Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063, the game on this Thursday, presented by Southern Bank of Tennessee. Chase McCabe, Teron Davenport in for Jared today, who is a little under the weather. So we're gonna have a collective effort. The TD Power Hour is usually later, and we've moved it up today. Thank you for coming in early. Appreciate it. And so This is the TD Power Hour. Of course, we'll take questions and calls for Teron as we talk some Titans and some football. The George Plaster Show will follow from 3 to 5, a simulcast with 94.9 The Fan, and then NASCAR coverage with the duel at Daytona gets underway at 5. So we're just going all over the place. Jared, though, should be back tomorrow. I said he was starting to feel a little bit better, so hopefully he can power through. What up, TD?
What's going on? I was hoping, no offense.
Yeah.
I was hoping to come in and get to talk to Jared because I've been listening to him all week. And
Hot Take City.
Oh man, like I guess the haterade. He must be sick from too much haterade.
Too much
about
haterade.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I hope you do get better, Jared.
Yeah, I was kind of giving him a hard time the other day because I don't know if you heard the segment where he was talking about that the Eagles had a lot of players that were really good in college and stuff like that, and
most guys in the NFL
right. Well, but he was saying like Josh Allen wasn't good in college, and because they didn't go to a big school, I guess is what it was, and I was like, come on now, come on, Jared, like I need you to pump the brakes a little bit, my man. But so we'll have some fun today. I do want to start, and I know D Mace was talking about this earlier on DVD. You guys were kind of talking about it, that Travis Hunter has said at the Combine he will go to the NFL Combine as a DB, not as a receiver. We all kind of wondered what position he would be, and it looks like a DB. Right move for him, you think?
Yeah, I do think it's the right move. D-Mace made some good points. I mean, he's not at that spot where he could, have the lateral movement as controlled as well as, run a straight line and everything like that. He's not a refined route runner, long story short. So it'll give him more time. He needs to get with, I forget the guy's name, but he's footwork king. I don't know. He had left and he coached for the Ravens for a little bit, but I think he's back on his own. But he's in Dallas, and that's the guy, you know what I mean, among others. But I know he is there in that Dallas area because that's where Darryl Tolbert, who is the quarterback coach for Shedeur and Cam Ward, they're all working together.
When you look at, as we kind of talk about him, there are some people that in their mock drafts, they would have the Titans taking Travis Hunter number 1 overall because of the type of athlete that he is. I'm kind of with you. Like, look, he was a game-changing generational athlete in college, and he played at Colorado. And that's no slight to Colorado, but that's not the NFL. So can he still be that in the NFL? And with all that said, as the Titans go through their evaluation of, whether it's one of the quarterbacks and Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or, Travis Hunter or Carter, whoever that they're looking at, if they stick and pick at 1, is there a true, by definition, bona fide number 1 overall pick in this year's draft? I would say the answer to that is no.
Yeah, I don't think there is. And it's another one of those things where it's like, all right, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Excuse me. I think when you look at this, right, obviously if you go quarterback, if you need a quarterback, you got to consider one of those guys. And I mean, you really consider both of them, but you have to look at Abdul Carter and you have to look at what we know. The best team over the last 5 years is the Chiefs.
Right.
The one thing that has been kryptonite to the Chiefs, because the Bucs showed you, as well as the Eagles last week, they showed you. If you could pass rush and you could impact Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have a shot to beat him.
Yep.
He's still going to mess around and put 20 points up on you, but you're going to have a shot to beat him. And so I think that really needs to make Abdul Carter's impact higher because he is, or not impact, but his value higher because of what he could do as far as being a potential game wrecker from the pass rush side of things. So, I mean, you could go there, or you could be someone like, hey, look, man, I want to score points. Travis Hunter is going to score your points.
Sure.
I've said before.
You put him as receiver in the red zone?
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah. Right.
And you make them have to see him on fourth down too. And in the beginning of the game or the beginning of the second half, he would return every single. There wouldn't be a return that happens on my team without him being back there to catch it.
Right.
That's the way I would use him and also have that package.
So what's interesting in all of this, because you bring up Abdul Carter, in a perfect world, if I had my way and I'm the Titans, I'm calling the Raiders and I'm calling the Jets. And I'm saying, yeah, don't y'all love these quarterbacks? Aren't they cool? Don't you like it? You like them. You know you do. You want to draft one of these quarterbacks. You know you do. And you trade back and obviously get a bunch of picks in return.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. Abdul Carter is probably the best player in the draft besides Hunter. Mike Vrabel's going to take him if he's there.
Exactly.
Like if you don't think that, you don't know Mike Vrabel. Yeah. Like Mike Vrabel, that's a Vrabel player if I have ever seen one. Yeah. And you know that if he's sitting there at 4, Mike's taking it.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Really, the team that you need to be calling is the Giants.
The Giants at 3.
But for me, I can't fathom why it's in vogue for the Giants to trade up and take one of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, because I think one could still be there.
It's in vogue for the Browns to take one of these quarterbacks, but it's a curse for the Titans to take one of them.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't think the Browns probably out of the 3 teams have the best roster, but I don't think there's much separation between the Giants roster and the Titans roster.
Yeah.
So why is it okay for the Giants to move up and get him, but it's not okay for the Titans to sit there? And
sure. And I hear what you're saying. Like, but for me, I look at this team has so many holes.
As do the
Giants, that with the number 1 overall pick, and granted, if you'd had the number 1 overall pick last year, you're probably having a different conversation. But this year, the way they sit, it makes more sense to me to trade back to get more draft capital. Mike Borgonzi said he wants a bunch of picks in the top 100. Well, you know how you can do that? Mm-hmm. You trade number 1 overall.
Yeah. At the same time, you do have holes, but a part of those holes are blue chip players.
Yeah.
So don't move back, but so far. I agree with the trade back.
Sure.
Me personally, if the Giants aren't trading back or the Patriots aren't trading, like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing anything.
Unless you're just
anything further than that.
Now, what if the Jets called you and said, we want to move back, but Crosby's a part of the package?
You mean the Raiders?
The Raiders
at 6? Well, yeah. Now that's a different conversation.
Right.
Max Crosby, who back in the day, you know what show he was on, right?
Was he on Ballers?
No, Talking with TD.
Oh, that show
when he was coming out. Yeah.
He's an alum.
He's always been like Stillman knows. Like I always have my guys. He's always been a TD guy. But yeah, I mean that's a trade. I would definitely, because now we're looking at we got the pass rusher. One of the quarterbacks could be there at 6. Who's at 5?
5 is the Jags.
The Jags. Well, I mean, you heard the rumor about. Who knows what happens there? But I would be very surprised. So if the Raiders trade up to 1, they'll be taking one of the quarterbacks. The Browns, one of the quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, you'll be left with.
But you're also the other thing to think about in this scenario is you're also going to get a first next year, and I think. And the Titans are in this boat too. Whatever the Raiders or the Giants specifically do this year, I think there's a good chance they could still be bad and picking pretty good next year.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd be in good shape.
Next year, I think, is a better quarterback draft.
Well, it's very intriguing to me how, Arch is anointed.
Yeah,
Nico. No offense, UT fans. Please don't kill me. Don't kill me on the social. But there's still a lot to be desired.
He's overrated. I'll say it for you.
Drew Aller. We saw what happened. They tried to anoint him. They're trying to put But who is proven that you could just say he's better than Shedeur? He's better than.
Who is the last quarterback in the last 10 years that came out for the draft that without hesitation you go, that's the guy?
I think everybody everybody for the most part felt Williams was the guy,
Okay.
was the best
All right.
last year. But I mean, Burrow, yeah, you got Burrow.
But when I say like no hesitation, like there were some people that hesitated on Caleb Williams, but like zero hesitation.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, come on. I know he won the Heisman, but like nobody thought he was going to have the rookie year that he had. Nobody thought CJ Stroud was going to have the rookie year that he had. But there was high praise and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking like bona fide without hesitation. Like, yep, he'll be fine.
Right. I mean, I think you could say Burrow probably.
Right.
I mean, we could go back and look at it. There's probably somebody else, but I think Burrow is a reasonable one. But the whole thing is, I just can Arch Manning like play a full season?
Yeah, I
before
agree.
you want to give him the keys to the to the Lambeau. Like,
I agree.
It's wild to me. But then you got a guy in Shedeur who was a part of a 1-win team becoming a 9-win team, who played in a pro scheme. And everybody's like, oh, he's a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
he's got a second-round grade or whatever.
By the way, he's the most accurate, the highest completion percentage ever by any quarterback ever. And we're not talking about averaging 3 or 4 yards per completion. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of negativity being thrown on Shedeur that I don't think should be there. Is he one of my favorite prospects in this draft? Without a doubt. I'm not going to hide it, and I haven't.
So between Cam and Shedeur, you would take Shedeur?
If I'm the Titans, yes.
Okay.
If I'm another team, I probably, because it's just so hard, that upside that Cam has. And here's the other thing. You're allowed to like 2 prospects.
Sure.
And believe it or not, I like Cam and Shedeur. But I just think for the Titans, Shedeur is the pick.
Okay. We'll continue this discussion. Teron Davenport, Chase McCabe with you in the TD Power Hour in for Jared today. We'll continue the draft discussion, but also, could a familiar face land back in the Titans division, and what would that mean for the two-tone blue moving forward? We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
What do you think about what's going on in Jacksonville? What do you think of Tony Baselli as their top executive? Where do you think they're heading with GM at this late stage?
J-Rob?
I think J-Rob's got a shot. I really do. I think he's got a chance. And the Liam Cohen thing was just, everything has been, oh my God, what a mess this entire offseason. And the crazy thing about the Liam Cohen hiring that, really made you aware how messy this was going to get was early on. I was hearing out of their building, like, they loved Liam Cohen. They've loved him a really long time. They were not looking really like Ben Johnson was not their guy. Liam Cohen was their guy all along. And then you watch how this goes down, where they just botch it so horribly with Trent Baalke, where everyone's telling them the guy's got to be out. He can't be here. I heard there were like Zoom calls with coaches where, Shad Khan was saying, if you want to fire Trent, you can fire Trent. He's on the Zoom call. Like, it was just, and coaches who are doing the interviews are like, that's not really the responsibility I want. Maybe you guys should just handle this. So, if the decks are truly clear the decks.
That was Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports, on with Robbie and Rexroad with Paul this morning. Chase and TD in for Jared this afternoon. So John Robinson, J-Rob, interviewing for the Jacksonville Jaguars GM job. I'm going to say this, TD. I want John to get another chance. I like John. John was always very good to us, good to me. I know he's good to you, just great to work with. Did he have some bad drafts and some misses? Yes, absolutely he did. He also drafted Derrick Henry and Jeffrey Simmons and A.J. Brown, Kevin Byard and stuff. And, the A.J. trade, I get it. We'll, sit with him. But I think there are some other parties involved in that as well. So I think John deserves another chance.
Yeah.
And so while it would stink to have him in the division, at the same time, it might be fun. Now, also at the same time, not to be picky, because you obviously want to get back in, I'm not so sure that's the organization I want to go to, because you kind of got out of one situation and now you're going to go back into another one.
Yeah, you're going from one owner to another that, there's definitely questions that could be raised, but
it's one of 32. One of 32.
You go and you make the best of it. I mean, look, he interviewed with the Jets too.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Like he's got a little bit of a history, a drawing to these owners that you might question some.
I said this morning, I hope, like, what would be hilarious, this won't happen, but what would be hilarious if he got the job and the first thing he did was trade for A.J. Brown.
Oh man, imagine. Well, somebody put if he got the job, he said like Brian Thomas Jr. for Traylon Burks, and we're cool. And we're cool again.
That would be something. Yeah, Joe said that. Like, you think he'd trade for Traylon Burks? Like, man, he can have him. We'll just give him to him. We'll drive him down there. He can have him.
Right.
So that could be interesting if J-Rob lands there. But, kind of going back into the, the whole discussion with the Titans and the draft, it's one of the tougher years to truly identify, like, if you're going to take the best player at number 1 overall, who that is. And like you said in the last segment, it's okay to like more than one prospect. And that's where your board comes in. That's where you all get into a room, and that's where this whole Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi thing, I think we're truly going to see how that's going to work, because, remember, we found out Chad breaks the ties. If there's a tie for what to do at number 1 overall, what is that going to look like?
That's the thing. That's what we're going to see. And I think it's really going to come down to who holds the final say and how much are they going to be willing to yield that sword. That's really what it's going to be.
I understand that this can change because the combine hadn't happened yet. Pro days hadn't happened yet. But right now, because you've watched film, you've watched some of these guys, if you had to make the pick today, who would you take?
And this is not including not pending what happened in free agency.
Nope. Just right now today.
I'm taking Shedeur.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, and that's fair.
I just think, okay, yes, you do want to have a better team for him, but I'm taking him. It won't be the first time he's gone into a mess
Sure.
Of a situation. And I just, from interacting with him and then talking to people who interacted with him, from talking extensively with his quarterback coach, I think he has that makeup that is just going to be, regardless of what's going on, he's going to be him.
Yeah.
And he's just going to continue to develop.
He's got dog in him. I mean, there's no question there.
Yeah.
And I'd say Cam does too. Like,
Cam, but see, it's two different dogs.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cam is that dog that's starving. Shedeur is that dog that already tasted and wants to keep eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Cam's more of like a pit bull.
Yeah, like it's two different, but they're both dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. The quarterback carousel, though, is going to be interesting. And Adam, we'll get to your call in a second. If John Robinson, were to take the job in Jacksonville or get offered the job in Jacksonville, the report coming out that the Steelers could be interested in Trevor Lawrence and making that trade. Look, I think Trevor Lawrence has not lived up to all the hype. I don't think that's all his fault. He's gone through a ton of coordinators and, 2 head coaches since he's been – now 3 head coaches since he's been in the league. So, that's obviously hard on a quarterback. But I think we've learned that just because you're a superstar in college doesn't mean it's going to translate to the NFL.
You ever heard of Timmy Chang?
Yeah.
Hawaii. He was the all-time leading passer.
Yep.
In yardage.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
There's Jamarcus Russell. There's countless examples of guys that were great in college and it just didn't work out at the next level. He's worked out. He just hasn't been that MVP, perennial playoff guy. So do you think from his standpoint, now, if I'm looking at organizations, if I'm him, I'm packing right now to go to Pittsburgh and play for that team, play for that coach, play for that organization. Yeah. For him, I think that would be a good move. But is that the right move for Jacksonville to make?
I don't think so. I mean, you got your quarterback. Like, why sit there and try to find another one when you have your guy?
Yeah.
I don't think he's the problem in Jacksonville. Like,
no.
It's beyond just Trevor Lawrence. See, a part of it, like not playing up to par, yeah, of course. He could get better, but you have your guy already. So, no, I wouldn't do that.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam in Portland wants to weigh in. Adam, what's up?
Man, I don't want J-Rob to not have an opportunity somewhere. I can appreciate what he did for us. But at the same time, dude, we can't pretend. Like Louis C.K. had a bit where he was like, hey, it would be really sad if 2 really happy people decided to get a divorce. Like something happens to make you want to get a divorce, right? So, and I was ready. Once AJ spanked that goalpost, Amy can lie all she wants. I was ready for him to go, dude. Like, you've ruined our franchise with one stupid move. And that follows the Caleb Farley, Isaiah Wilson. Like, you didn't just miss Traylon Burks. You didn't just miss. You missed so bad that you set our team from garbage, and then we had to go exotic smash mouth, and then we had to work our way back up to the top, and then we're down again, dude. Like, you did that. So, like, we can't pretend like it didn't happen, but he was good. Like, he brought us Derek. He brought us KB. I wanted to have an opportunity. I think he could do something good. But I hate people pretending like that faulty 7-5 first place was not the weakest first place ever when he got fired. Like, I was happy he got fired when he did.
Appreciate the call, Adam. Thank you.
I don't think he should have gotten fired.
Not when he did.
Not when he did. Now, maybe if it didn't work out the following year,
sure.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, like, I'm not a reactionary person. So it's going to be different from my perspective.
Well, I'll go back to what Jared said. And because I said the same thing. I could have sat here at the end of the year and given you a case of why he should have been let go. And I could have given you a case of why he should be given the opportunity to fix it. I think that he and Vrabel should have been given the opportunities to fix it. And she ultimately didn't see it that way. But, I can find fault for sure in both of their jobs. But, I think that John should have been given at least another year, another draft class to try and get out of the COVID stuff and fix what happened.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, he fixed not fixed, but he restored respect to the organization.
Yeah.
Okay, he had his down. You can't tell me a GM that has not had some picks where you're like,
Of course.
What were you thinking?
Of course.
Every GM has.
I
that.
sat in this room with Floyd Reese one time during the summer, and I forgot what player it was, and I looked at him. I'm like, Floyd, what did you see in this?
Why?
Yeah, and I mean, he'd laugh and he goes, "Look, sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. That's a part of it." But and the thing was that I don't think she sees now is doing things the way she did when she did it. You set Rand Carthon up for failure because of the position that he got put in.
Yeah.
And look, I kind of looked at some things and thought maybe he's not the GM, but they set him up from the beginning to not be successful. Right. So hopefully now, and maybe now that's what she's realized and why she's kind of gone into the darkness and we haven't really seen or heard from her.
I think this situation now, like I would be surprised if they don't do well. Like I would be very surprised. I think Mike Borgonzi, he has my, like, if I was a fan, I would trust, like, oh yeah, that guy's gonna get this organization right. And then you look at the supporting cast, and then there's some flipping going on in the scouting. Like they're not standing pat where they are. Like there's some, not restructuring, but flipping of the roster.
Pretty much all of John's guys are gone. Right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
a lot of them are.
Yeah, he's Teron Davenport. I'm Chase McKay. We're in for Jared today. We'll take more of your calls, more of your texts. This is the TD Power Hour here on Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Teron Davenport in for Stillman today. He's feeling a little under the weather. Hopefully back tomorrow. 615-737-1025 and Stillman and Company presented by Southern Bank of Tennessee. Teron, I do laugh. We got a couple of texters, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. And Beth asked this question in regards to John Robinson. Can Amy stop him from taking the GM job because it was a lateral move? Because she is paying him, I guess. Is that me? Oh, is that you?
That was me. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Didn't hit mute on watching the vet videos and doing the break.
But, I mean, he's free and clear to take whatever. She can't block anything. Now, she would stop paying him because there would be an offset thing.
But, so she would want him to go.
Yeah, right.
I mean?
Now because if he took a job, then she'd only have to pay one GM not to work here anymore instead of two.
Right.
So, because I think John has another year.
Yeah, I think it's another year.
Yeah. So she's having to pay that out. So no, she could not block that. So that question answered. And then this one, 0247, guys, Vrabel and Robinson are gone. Let's move on. We the people are tired of hearing about them.
Well, I mean, here's the problem. John Robinson is in the news cycle.
Right.
And he's in the news cycle being interviewed for a job in your division.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be talked about. And look, I'm sorry, Vrabel's always going to be a topic. You know what I mean? And really the only reason that we talked about Vrabel was in regards to the number 4 pick, which again turns back to moving back how far you can. Titans off of 1.
Let me give you all a little bit of a history lesson because I've grown up here my whole life. I've lived here my whole life. And I remember this guy named Jeff Fisher. Okay. He was pretty good coach. I know they're, 8-8 jokes or all that, but he, along with the late great GM Floyd Reese, put a roster together that got the Titans to the Super Bowl, got the Titans to 2 AFC championship games, had a lot of success with the Titans. After Jeff was gone, guess who got talked about quite a bit in this market because things weren't going so well? Jeff Fisher. Guess whose name still gets brought up to this day about maybe they should talk to somebody? Jeff Fisher. So, when you have success, even after that guy leaves, he's still going to be brought up. Mike Vrabel's name is not going to go away in this market until the next guy does better than he did.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how it works.
It's called a standard being set.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It does get tiring. Even if those of us that talk about it, it does get tiring sometimes. But that's kind of the way it is. That's just how it goes.
These are the breaks.
These are the breaks. Aaron Rodgers officially, we know that era has come to an end. Is it an era or an error with the Jets? And so he's going to be free and clear. I've been saying, Teron, I don't think there's going to be a huge market for him, but I do think there will be a market for him. What do you think that market is, and could it involve the Tennessee Titans?
I think it'll definitely involve the Titans. Now, how serious it gets, we'll see. But, I mean, you look at teams, I don't think the Raiders will be a match. Definitely not Cleveland. The Giants, no. I don't know that there's a huge market for him. And that might work in the Titans' favor. So, I mean, the Titans are pretty much the one team I could say, definitely somebody that will likely be in the mix. I can't think of too many others, man.
I mean,
looking at this,
Raiders.
I just don't see the match organizationally. I don't see the match.
Well, can Tom? I don't even know if he and Brady get along. I mean, I have no idea. Does he get along with anybody? Does Aaron get along with anybody?
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee.
That's about it.
I mean, so if I felt like this team was in a better position, now we were talking about it. If you took Abdul Carter and you got him and Jeffrey Simmons and Sweat and Landry, and then you got that secondary healthy, now you got to still add a little bit there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But that defense, all of a sudden, you're feeling better on paper about that defense. You got to then address the offensive line, continue to address the offensive line. So that's why I'm kind of Aaron Rodgers, to me, if you're going to go that route, needs to be able to walk into the locker room and know that he's got a team around him that basically is ready to go compete. That's what he thought he was doing in New York. The Titans aren't anywhere near that.
No, but I mean, look, like when you're in that situation, like, okay, the one team possibly the 49ers, but they've already made it clear that they're playing Brock Purdy. I mean that's the one team that's ready made that he could step in but you look, maybe the Saints.
Yeah, Saints could be. I mean,
I mean, just looking at the opportunity, Steelers maybe.
Yeah,
there aren't many opportunities for this man to
I
go.
think he and Tomlin would clash.
Probably, but I mean, I've seen crazier matches work out, but I mean, the point is, there's just not many places for him.
Yeah. 615-737-1025. We will take your questions for TD and the TD Power Hour. You can call, you can text at 615-737-1025. We will do that next, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. You know I love Hiller. They take great care of my home. They can do the same for you. Hiller has been in business since 1990, and they are family-owned and operated. And Jimmy Hiller was recently named amongst the most admired CEOs because of the way he truly cares for his team and his clients. I know this because I use Hiller at my home. Hiller takes care of the customer on every job, every time, every day, and they stand behind their work with 100% satisfaction of happy you'll be or the service is free. Learn more at happyhiller.com. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds of Falls and Vandy. Hiller. Call that fish truck today.
Chase and TD, 102.5, 106.3, the game in for Stillman and Company today. The George Plaster Show is going to follow us in about 10 minutes. Jared out sick today. And then we'll have NASCAR coverage starting at 5 o'clock with the duel at Daytona. NASCAR coverage presented by Green Trees and the new Cumberland.com. Your questions for TD on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. We'll get to the calls in a second. We'll go to the text first. LD from McMinnville. Stillman seems to think Darnold may end up with the Raiders. So if the Titans don't draft a quarterback, what are their options?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's talk in the building of Darnold coming here. So
sure,
who knows? I think there's somebody. Obviously, you could connect them to the Raiders. If it does, I mean, we talked about it last segment. Aaron Rodgers is in the mix. Who's going to shake free? Like, we keep hearing this Matthew Stafford stuff, but then
I would take him in a heartbeat.
But see, now what you're doing is challenging your message that you preached, the day Mike Borgonzi was hired.
Build through the draft.
Build through the draft.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I would lean towards doing that too. If you could get 3-4 years out of them, you'd be in good shape. You look at Derek Carr, he may shake free. Kellen Moore just spoke on the job. He officially hired. It just depends on what veterans come open. And really, March is going to tell you.
Yeah, you'll know
what they're going to do in the draft. March is going to tell you. It's going to give you a good indication.
Well, because and you've been there, I've been there. We kind of know how this works. A lot of conversations will take place in Indianapolis, Indiana, here in a couple weeks. A lot of those closed door dinners, and I can remember walking into a restaurant with Jared and Floyd one time, and Floyd kind of looking around, laughing, goes, "There's a lot of deals being made here." Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we'll probably have a better idea after that, because we'll have better evaluation of some of these players, at the top of the draft. And I'm sure that the Titans will have, different discussions on if they want to stick and pick or if they want to move out of that spot.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to give it some time. Let's go to the phones now. Wes in Hermitage wants to weigh in. Wes, what's up?
Oh, guys, how you doing? Chase, I know how you're doing. I talked to you earlier today.
I know. I'm tired.
How's it going? I bet you are, man.
He's working. Everything's going well, man. Appreciate you.
Cool, man. So about 10 days ago, I called into Jared's show, and I asked a question, and then as soon as he answered the question, I realized I asked on a day when you weren't there, and it was stupid. So I have a question about your analysis and a question about mine. I want to start with yours first. Why is your opinion of Shedeur Sanders so different than everybody else's? What is it that you're seeing that other people are not seeing?
Is it different from everybody else's, though?
I feel like it is. I hear you pumping pumping the gas for him. Like you would take him number one, I believe. But I see too much skepticism about it online. And I mean, I've watched some film and stuff. I don't do this for a living. I'm a dog groomer, so I don't see all the things that I guess that you guys see. But I'm just curious, what is it about Shedeur that you see specifically that you think that he could help this franchise?
Okay, I'll tell you specifically, and this is coming from talking to Brian Callahan and having him look at me directly in the eyes, face to face, and tell me, when I asked him, I said, "Brian, what are the 3 pillars of quarterbacking?" He says processing, decision-making, accuracy. Now, here's the thing. I am not saying Shedeur is the best in this draft class, right?
Sure.
I'm not saying he's the best player. When asked, okay, what would you do if you were the Titans and can't trade back? I said draft Shedeur, because I believe he matches the Titans the best when you look at all these prospects. Now, again, Brian Callahan said processing, decision-making, and accuracy. And I'm sitting there listening, and I'm like,
yeah,
those are the things that Shedeur does best. And then I ask him, okay, well, what do you think about, and this isn't me saying Callahan wants to pick Shedeur. This is just me, why I think he's such a good match for them. I say, what about the arm strength? And he says, oh, well, I mean, there were a lot of questions about Joe Burrow's arm strength coming out. And we know, and he's the kind of guy where if you know where you're going with the football and you throw with anticipation, and I put Shedeur in that category, you can make up for that. Now, there's a baseline requirement, but you can make up for it. So I hear that and I say, oh, a match. But me personally, just watching Shedeur, I say watch the Nebraska game, right? You want a quarterback that's tough, watch the Nebraska. They tried to kill this dude, but he kept getting up and coming back. And I mean, it wasn't the best game, but he continued to play. You want to look at what is asked of him. He's asked to play quarterback like an NFL quarterback.
Right.
He's asked to make the reads. He's asked to process, stay on schedule. Now, there are times where he doesn't, without a doubt. I'm not saying that there's no warts with him, because there are. But I just believe that he is an NFL-ready quarterback. I really like his swagger. I like the way that he is not wavered, in the face of anything. I trust the upbringing and that he was brought up to be in the lights. Like, he was raised for this. And then you also have to look at he has the bloodlines are there.
Sure.
But most importantly for me, and what doesn't get talked about a lot, Pat Shurmur is a well-respected, believe it or not, he's respected in the league. He orchestrated NFL offenses. He's a long-tenured OC in the league. He has Shedeur running that scheme. So for me, those are the things. Now, does he have to stop taking the sacks? Does he have to realize the play is over at times? Yes. Does he have to stop scrambling backwards? Yes. But I believe that he's the best match prospect-wise for the Titans.
Thanks, Wes.
Appreciate it, guys.
The other thing on that, because I don't think he had a great offensive line at Colorado. So I think instinctively
running game.
Right. He is moving around more. That's why I mean, the Titans obviously have to fix the offensive line no matter what. But if they were to draft him and then gave him a serviceable or better offensive line than what he's been used to, that probably settles him down in certain ways, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there are all things that are fixable with prospects. So
real quick, let's squeeze in Dylan in Antioch, who's been waiting patiently. Dylan, you're on with TD.
Hey, TD. Hey, Chase. Hey, TD, everything you do is great. Got a lot of respect for you. I know everyone in Nashville does too. So
thank you.
Do a great job. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I was thinking, let's just say the Titans stick at number one. I was looking, they got 2 fourths, and I know they'd like to get that third back, but I was wondering if you had some guys maybe around that area, specifically in the offensive tackle, safety, or a tight end position. Maybe you've had him on talking with TD or something, that if like if that guy's there and he drops to 4, maybe even 3, if they can get back in. Like, is there a name? I don't have any names, but I know you probably got a couple that you've looked at. So I just wanted to take those comments off there. Thank you.
So he was saying if they move back to number 4.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was some of the 4th round picks.
Fourth round pick. I think Xavier Watts is a guy I would consider out of Notre Dame.
Okay.
RJ Mickens is another one. So I mean, there's some guys safety wise. Offensive line, I mean, I really like Carson Vincent out of Alabama A&M. I think he's probably tackle, left tackle, but you could flip him to right, like Titus Howard style. So yeah, I mean, those are a couple real quick. I know we're up against it, but those are a few.
Where do you think Scadaboo goes round wise? Second,
probably
third?
I'll go third, fourth, probably.
Yeah, he'd be interesting. He's fun.
Dummy, man. You love watching him. He brings the swagger.
That's going to do it for the TD Power Hour. Coming up next, Jared is out sick. A special simulcast of the George Plaster Show, along with our sister station 94.9 The Fan. You'll hear that next on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Yeah,
There's only one reason they won that game. 2 words, Malik Dia.
Oh, did he come through again?
He took over. When South Carolina got the lead late, remember, they have not won a game in the conference. Malik Dia came in, looked very pissed off, basically said, give me the ball and get the hell out of the way, and he took over.
He's been better than I would have thought he'd be at Ole Miss. Credit to Chris Beard has been able to pull that out of him. Arkansas stays right there on the bubble. They beat LSU at home 70-58, and then 21st ranked Missouri walloped Oklahoma. This Missouri team, they're blowing some people out every other night. It feels like 82-58 over the Sooners home. So pretty much chalk last night in the SEC. Around the country, though, 9th ranked St. John's dropped one. They snapped their 10-game winning streak last night against Villanova. That was at Villanova, so tough place to play. But in other news for St. John's, they have moved their final home game from Carnesecca Arena to Madison Square Garden. They said the decision was made to accommodate more of their fans due to increased demand. By the way, Carnesecca Arena holds just 5,600. MSG holds almost 20,000.
Yeah, it's a little the on-campus thing's a little cracker box, but you find that a lot up toward the north. Villanova last night played their game on campus, and it's a little bitty cracker box.
Well, that tells you the buzz of what Pitino's doing up there for the Johnnies. But so we've got that coming up. That'll be their last home game. Meanwhile, in the NFL, it is now official. The Aaron Rodgers era with the Jets is over.
Kelly, much ado about nothing.
Much ado about nothing. Just didn't work out. Sometimes it's timing. He got injured. They can't protect him. He's 41. You know, what are you going to do? I think the Titans ought to look at him. I know y'all don't, but look at him.
Oh, no. Whoa. No, I'm there with you. That they at least, you know, on whatever wall they put all the stuff up and say, okay, let's see what sticks. His name's got to be up there to talk about it. Billy, I'm sorry that offends you.
What have y'all been smoking?
You at least have to talk about it.
You at least got to talk about it, Billy. I mean,
yeah,
the dude's been in the league for 45 years, it seems like. You know, he's won a Super Bowl. He's won some MVPs. He's definitely not what he used to be, but he's better than what you have now.
Well, anybody'd be better than what they have now. But
you wouldn't.
The Jets the Jets did not give a reason for the decision, but said they met with Rodgers last week and shared that we intend to move on in a different direction at quarterback.
I'll give the reason. He's a pain in the butt.
And you guys want him here.
Well, look, I think you have to set certain guidelines, okay? One of which would be every player that you liked in Green Bay isn't coming here.
Your buddy Devontae?
Devontae Adams. You don't like bringing him along?
Kevin.
I could handle that one.
Kevin on YouTube chimes in. Aaron Rodgers will be a Titan.
Ooh, I like him.
He doesn't know, and we don't know.
No.
But
yeah, nobody knows.
Thanks for good talk.
What we